Hi, I'm Mary Jo. I have been a nurse for over 50 years, and I have been able to lose over 100 pounds as a postmenopausal woman. Can you imagine what I used to look like? Anyway, I have also reversed all chronic disease in my life, and I owe all of this to the science of nutrition, which is fabulous and teaches you how to combine delicious natural plant-based foods, yes, delicious, in a way that enliven your taste buds as well as your soul. I thought perhaps considering energy as an option, that perhaps a good discussion point would be about exercise. So I have two videos on exercise. Yes, it's about time I have one video on something, is it not? I absolutely love trying to complete videos that may help another person. That's my whole intention and aim. However, my other half is retired, and it's kind of like I don't know when to do it anymore. So I will have to figure this out, right? No one is stopping me. I'm stopping myself. Isn't that the way we do things in life? So often we are in our own way. So to get out of my own way, part one, exercise. So what exercise should you become involved in? Should you do? Well, to be very specific, I can't for each and every individual. I can tell you what I do, but that doesn't mean it will necessarily fit your needs where you are in this world. But I do think there are four types of exercise, and many of them flow into the other that are important for all of us to consider as we journey through life. And of course, my all-time favorite in all the world, aerobic exercise. Yes, get that heart pounding, run amok among everything, and just have a glorious time breathing in the delicious air of outside. So I've always loved aerobic training. However, since my knees are not as happy as they used to be, I have to find different ways to do it. Now, a caveat about aerobics. Aerobics is a very active form of exercise. It could be running, it could be walking, literally it could be swimming, my all-time favorite. I love to swim laps at the YMCA. It could be so many different things. It's those kinds of exercises that elevate your heart rate and encourage increased respiration that are extremely good for providing a competent cardiovascular system. And truly, in my case, seem to love to express endorphins, and I just sometimes come out of the pool or out of a rapid form of rowing or some other form of exercise or cycling in a way that I just feel on top of the world and filled with energy and excitement for life. And it's those endorphins from activity that give you that good, wonderful, happy feeling. Anyway, one thing about aerobics is that there are aerobics that are more or less weight bearing and that are not weight bearing. Now, if you end up with slightly achy knees, then some of the weight bearing exercises you tend to substitute non weight bearing exercises for. But as we get older, especially you ladies out there, what is important is some, doesn't have to be exclusive, but some weight-bearing type of exercise. Now, the reason for that is it's that jarring motion. You know, one foot hitting the pavement, the other foot hitting the pavement. It's that type of motion that encourages not only strong muscles but very strong bones. And women in particular, but it does not exclude the men out there. When we lose our natural ability to produce increased amounts of estrogen, which is actually okay in terms of health, you sometimes notice in some situations some bone loss. Now, I am here to say that you can prevent or reverse that, and that should require an entire another video. So if you love to run, you're doing aerobics and you're doing weight bearing. If you love to walk, you're doing aerobics and you're doing weight bearing. If you love to bicycle, there's nothing wrong with that. Keep it up. But that is aerobic without really significant weight bearing. Believe it or not, rowing provides aerobic exercise and weight bearing. And I don't know what's wrong with me, but I love rowing. I'm not saying that I'm good at it, but boy, I just love it. It's also really good for the knees. You know, like bicycling is really good for the knees because these kinds, the rowing and the bicycling, they help get more synovial fluid in the joint, make your joints feel better, make your knees feel better, and you're more ready for more action. So they're really good exercises. Now, bicycling, which is good for you, is not weight bearing. So it should not be your exclusive form of exercise. Whereas rowing, if you're not wanting to walk, which walking is great, or run, rowing is considered weight bearing because of the way you have to shove off from the pedals to complete the row. Isn't that fun and interesting? But never fear, no matter what type of aerobic exercise you enjoy. And for me, like I said, my all-time favorite is swimming. It's non-weight bearing. Love it. And I don't know why. I can get really bored during exercise, but swimming laps, I never get bored. I cannot explain that. All I can tell you is how much I enjoy it. So, and at my age, I can belong to the Y free of charge due to Medicare's Fit On program, which is lovely because it gives me and it gives us older folks lots of opportunity to include exercise into our regimen. And there's so many different ways. There's different aquatic exercises outside of swimming, including water walking, but there are also weights to use in the water so that you can do resistance training to some extent in the water as well. Now, that brings me to the second form of exercise that all people should find a way to engage in, though I have to tell you, I was not good at this one until I got older. And that is either muscle strength, weightlifting, resistance training. Those types of activities that help increase muscle mass and strength and endurance and capability. You know, as you get older, if you don't use it, you will lose it. And I hate to tell you that that can have definite negative implications for mobility and self-independence, which none of us want. Sounds awful, doesn't it? So, strength training, muscle training, I mean, we're talking weights, we're talking resistance bands here. But the good thing, it's particularly about, you know, I should have grabbed some weights to do this so I could look a little bit more impressive, right? That if you're doing any form of weight exercises, you are doing weight-bearing exercises. So that's a good thing to note, especially as you get older. And you want those muscles capable and strong and able to do whatever it is you want to do in life. From carrying groceries up your stairs to your kitchen, to just even opening a door. I mean, these functional movements of everyday life can suddenly seem difficult, and they shouldn't. The third type of exercise that we should all engage in to some extent is stretching. Now, stretching is particularly good for you before an aerobic routine or coming down or calming down after an aerobic routine when your muscles are heated up. Stretching is to lengthen muscles so that they work a little bit better. And it also has a lot to do with flexibility. Now, flexibility exercises are the fourth type. Now, you will notice that a lot of flexibility exercises stretch, and a lot of stretch exercises increase flexibility, and yet there are some that are a little bit different. In that, flexibility exercises are to enable, you know, complete range of motion of joints, whereas stretching is to lengthen muscles. And so you encourage their competence and their capability, which combined together produces positive mobility, which is the way that we can efficiently control movements and do basically whatever we want to do. Go play golf, go play tennis, take a walk around the zoo with our grandkids. It helps us have that ability to be extremely mobile. And mobility is, once again, very important to independence. You know, my overall lifetime goal, oh, I hope this doesn't sound too awful, is to take myself wherever I need to go. And that includes the bathroom and do my own business without anybody else being there. That may sound like a most ridiculous goal in the whole wide world, but the whole idea is to be capable of self-care throughout my life. And I'm on the road. I mean, I have heard different conversations about at a certain age you should talk to your aging parents about taking their car keys away from them. Well, I'll tell you what. My mother was in her late 80s, early 90s, and she said, I'm going to drive if I want to, and you girls leave my car keys alone. I have more sisters in the area than brothers. Anyway, that was kind of interesting. And one day, one of my sisters, I hope I'm reporting this correctly because sometimes they listen to me, which is a little scary. But one of my sisters said to her, because she was so insistent upon driving if she wanted to, and we were concerned about her competence, her vision, her hearing, and her mobility. So we were concerned about these things. So, but my sister was very, very brilliant. She said, Mom, if you can come downstairs, get into your garage, and you can open up your car door by yourself, get in, close the car door, put on your seatbelt, and oh, by the way, you've lifted up the garage door, which really is just a matter of pressing a button, and you feel like you can drive, then you can drive. Nobody's going to stop you. You have insurance, you have a car, you can drive. But Mom could not open the car door by herself. Another thing I noticed, because she had a lot of misalignment in her shoulders, that she literally couldn't turn the steering wheel how she wanted to. Plus, she developed macular degeneration as well, and she really didn't hear well. She complained a lot about how the television and the cable companies did not provide adequate volume, and she just didn't understand it. And you know, it's hard to explain that your auditory nerve is not functioning exactly how you would like it to do. But I'll be that as it may. Yes, some people age poorly. Mom was the sugar queen of North America, and she did not particularly eat a high dense nutrient diet. She ate what she was taught to eat, and she was a very happy and sweet and beautiful woman who I love with all my heart and think about on a daily basis. We lost Mom several years ago, but I like to think that I can still talk to her if I feel like it. In fact, every so often I think, oh, I gotta call Mom and tell her this zinger that Mary Jo did. Of course, all I have to do is say, oh, by the way, did you hear that? And I'm sure that she did. So, on to exercise. I want to be in charge of my own care my entire life. And due to the fact that disability was happening in my world, I went to literature. I looked at a lot of information. I prayed, I meditated. I told you I read Dr. Joel Fuhrman's book. I have read all of his books. I belong to his website. I think that he has done so much good for so many people. And you know, if you say, well, that's too different, that's too radical, I can't do that, well, that's your privilege. But I'm 73 years young, and there's not much in this world I can't do on my own power and steam. I enjoy still finding different forms of aerobic exercise, still weight bearing and non-weight bearing. I began to really enjoy resistance training and muscle building. I do better with weights in a class situation. So I like to find a class where they're doing weights or resistance bands. Either one is fine with me. I try to incorporate stretching and different flexibility forms of activities so that I'm kind of a nut. That's putting it mildly, because I will tell you in the next video that I like to go to classes in a place called Orange Theory. I love to go to classes in a place called Hot Works, which includes an infrared sauna. And I enjoy walking the zoo. There's a beautiful garden in this vicinity that I like to walk around. We even have a park a couple blocks away that I will walk around. And I just enjoy swimming beyond belief. So there's a lot of different activities I can encourage in my day. But never fear if you're not the exercise queen I have become, which I think had something to do with postpartum depression. Yeah, it was really sad that I was feeling sad, so I'd go out and run, and I felt great, and the baby was wonderful, my family was lovely, so it seemed to do a great deal of good for me. But anyway, I've become this crazy exercise queen. I have seen research to suggest that one of the things that is really, really important to sustain capability is simply activity during the day. I think the blue zones are really a good example of longer lived societies. I don't think they're perfect, but I think there's takeaways that we can get from what they choose to do. And they do a lot of walking. They don't go to the gym, but they do a lot of walking, a lot of moving around. So there's a lot of different ways to sustain increased daily activity, which is probably your best bet on burning calories if you're interested in concerns for weight. There is one other thing I learned about exercise that at one time I thought was so sad, but now I feel magic has entered my life. It's just fine. Exercise is really important to sustain our mobility throughout life. That's how I feel about it, and to allow us to be very active in our days as we wish to be. However, I found as a younger woman, I could out eat any exercise I could do, so that instead of changing my diet, I upped my exercise. I just gained weight a little more slowly. So it is possible, just instituting a good exercise regimen into your life. If you're concerned about weight, that some people will lose weight, that is an independent factor, but changing diet is way more effective than just exercising to try to beat out whatever calories you ate. So anyway, there you go. What kind of exercise should you do? Well, that's up to you, but it would be so grand for you if you found aerobic training, strength or resistance training, both non-weight bearing and weight bearing activities, flexibility, and stretching. And if you say, well, I don't even know where to begin, well, you're on a computer right now. I'll tell you what, Google is most interesting. Look up stretching exercises. Don't do the ones you don't like. Do the ones you like, and do them within your realm of capability. It is the consistent practice of certain movements that enable us to perfect them. And then there are some movements that are not really necessary for us to be doing, depending upon what stage of life you are in. I love to engage in some form of aerobic exercise, muscle training exercise, and in the evenings I love to do some yoga, which usually enhances stretching as well as flexibility. At home, I also have a power plate. They're a little pricey. I find the smallest one that runs for around $1,000, $1,500, I believe. It's a large plate. It is heavy, guys. It's a large plate, and you turn it on, and the small one only goes for 30 seconds, but you can hit 30 seconds over and over again if you want to do something longer. You basically stand on a moving platform that moves and gyrates and vibrates 4 different ways. And while you're keeping your balance, you're doing exercises. You might be doing arm exercises, you might be doing leg exercises, you might be marching, you might be stretching, be careful and make sure you have something you can hold on to, because when you first get started, you're not going to be necessarily a whiz kid at sustaining your balance. So depending upon where you are in life, some people will be, other people will not be. I really, really enjoy the power plate. I do want to mention it because I know I did not mention it on my second video about exercises I particularly enjoy to do in my community, which may or may not impact what you like to do or what your community provides for you. You may know of many other options and opportunities that work for you. But anyway, the power plate is extremely good at helping women with osteopenia, osteoporosis. It's just amazing what sustaining those vibrations, even if you're not moving a whole lot, because that's where your aerobic capacity is, or your functional capacity is, you still will get a significant benefit. It's a definite weight-bearing exercise, and depending upon how you do it, sometimes you cannot do it every day of the week for some people, and some people can do little exercises most days of the week. So it just kind of depends. Just figure out what is best for you. Anyway, that's it for now. God bless you for hanging in there. I meant this to be 10 minutes, and it's 22 by the counter in front of me. Well, I hope you enjoyed this presentation. I tell you what, I don't know what I'd do without you. You are the most beautiful, blessed people in this world. So take good care of you. Otherwise, the rest of us become lost. So with gratitude and love in my heart for all you are, please take good care of yourself today and have great fun with whatever you choose to do. And this is goodbye from Nurse Mary Jo. See you next time.